In the annals of ancient China, few rulers rose so high, only to fall so hard. Emperor Yang of Sui was a man of immense ambition, boundless extravagance, and ruthless determination. He inherited a unified empire, but in his relentless pursuit of glory, conquest, and luxury, he led China into rebellion and ruin. Born in 569 CE, Yang Guang was the second son of Emperor Wen, the founder of the Sui Dynasty. His early life was marked by intelligence, charm, and a keen understanding of politics. Unlike his older brother Yang Yong, who was the designated heir, Yang Guang cultivated an image of a diligent, frugal, and virtuous prince. But behind this polished exterior lay a cunning and ambitious strategist. While Yang Yong enjoyed the luxuries of palace life, Yang Guang carefully built alliances within the imperial court, earning the favor of influential officials and, more importantly, his own mother, Empress Dugu Qiluo. Yang Guang knew that the path to the throne would not be given. It had to be taken. His mother, Empress Dugu, played a crucial role. She had long favored him over Yang Yong, believing him to be more disciplined and capable. Using whispers, manipulation, and court intrigue, Yang Guang and his allies smeared Yang Yong's reputation before Emperor Wen. Yang Yong was accused of extravagance, indulgence, and moral corruption, all grave offenses under the austere rule of Emperor Wen. In 600 CE, the once secure crown prince was demoted and imprisoned, clearing the way for Yang Guang to become the new heir. But Yang Guang was not satisfied with merely being heir. He wanted the throne immediately. In 604 CE, Emperor Wen died under mysterious circumstances in his palace. The official records state he passed away due to illness, but rumors of poisoning or suffocation circulated widely. Some accounts suggest that Yang Guang himself orchestrated his father's death, eliminating the final obstacle in his path. Whether through direct action or political pressure, one thing was certain: Emperor Wen was gone. And Yang Guang stood as the undisputed ruler of China. With his father dead and his older brother imprisoned, Yang Guang swiftly crushed any remaining opposition. Loyalists to Yang Yong were executed, rival officials were purged, and power was consolidated under his iron grip. By the end of 604 CE, he ascended the throne as Emperor Yang of Sui, a ruler with grand ambitions, boundless extravagance, and an unrelenting thirst for glory. As Emperor, Yang of Sui dreamed of a China that would surpass all before it, a realm of unmatched power, wealth, and grandeur. To achieve this, he launched some of the most ambitious projects in Chinese history. Among his greatest achievements was the Grand Canal, a colossal waterway stretching over 1,100 miles, connecting the Yangtze River in the south with the Yellow River in the north. This engineering marvel transformed China's economy, allowing grain, silk, and resources to flow swiftly between regions. It strengthened imperial control, enabling the swift movement of troops and supplies. But its construction was a humanitarian catastrophe. Emperor Yang conscripted millions of peasants, soldiers, and prisoners to dig through mountains, divert rivers, and carve out vast waterways, often by hand. Thousands perished from exhaustion, disease, and starvation. Entire villages were uprooted as labor quotas drained the countryside of able-bodied men. For those who resisted conscription, the punishment was often death. Yet the Grand Canal was just the beginning. Emperor Yang was a ruler, obsessed with magnificence, and he spared no expense in displaying his wealth and power. He ordered the construction of lavish palaces, each grander than the last, adorned with jade, gold, and rare treasures from across the empire. One of his most infamous projects was the rebuilt eastern capital of Luoyang, a sprawling city meant to outshine all others. Opulent halls, towering gates, and vast imperial gardens symbolized his vision of unmatched dominance. But to fund these endeavors, he increased taxes to unbearable levels, squeezing the peasantry and nobility alike. His desire for personal glory extended beyond construction. He also craved military conquest. But unlike his father, Emperor Wen, who had unified China through careful strategy, Yang waged reckless and disastrous wars. His most ambitious and disastrous campaign was against Goguryeo, present-day Korea, a kingdom that had successfully resisted Chinese invasions for centuries. In 612 CE, Emperor Yang launched the first of three massive invasions. He sent an army of over 1.1 million men, one of the largest military forces ever assembled in ancient history. But the Korean defenders, led by the brilliant General Ilji Mundeok, used guerrilla tactics, deception, and the rugged terrain to their advantage. The Sui forces, unfamiliar with the treacherous Korean landscape, were cut off from supplies, starved, and constantly harassed. The final disaster came at the Battle of Salsu River, where Goguryeo forces intentionally drained the river to lure the Chinese in, then released a sudden flood, drowning thousands. The Sui army was shattered, and only a fraction of the soldiers survived the retreat back to China. Humiliated but unwilling to admit defeat, Emperor Yang launched two more invasions in 613 and 614 CE, each ending in disastrous failure. By then, his empire was buckling under the strain. His wars had drained the treasury, forced peasants into relentless military service, and caused mass starvation. To maintain control, he doubled down on heavy taxation and forced labor. Millions were conscripted, not only for war, but also for his grand construction projects, including the Grand Canal and his palaces. Cities and villages were left empty as people were dragged from their homes to work or fight. Famines spread, and discontent turned into open rebellion. By 615 CE, rebellion had engulfed China. In the north, a former peasant leader, Li Yuan, who would later become the first emperor of the Tang Dynasty, rallied troops against the Sui court. In the south, regional warlords declared independence. Even Emperor Yang's own generals turned against him. By 618 CE, the mighty Sui Dynasty was on the brink of total collapse. Emperor Yang's reckless wars against Goguryeo, his lavish spending, and his merciless conscription policies had driven China into rebellion and famine. Entire provinces had fallen into the hands of warlords, while bandit armies roamed the countryside, looting and burning as they pleased. Peasant uprisings erupted across the empire, led by desperate men who had once been farmers, merchants, and even former soldiers of the Sui army. Li Yuan, once a loyal Sui general, had now declared himself the ruler of a new dynasty, the Tang Dynasty, heralding a new era. Sensing that his grip on power was slipping, Emperor Yang abandoned the capital, Chang'an, and fled southward, seeking refuge in Jiangdu, modern-day Yangzhou. Once a ruler of one of the most powerful empires in the world, he now found himself a fugitive in his own kingdom. Despite his empire falling apart, the emperor refused to see reality. He surrounded himself with loyal courtiers, dancers, and servants, indulging in endless feasts and entertainment as if nothing had changed. He drank excessively, wrote poetry about his past glories, and continued to act like a divine ruler, even as his soldiers and officials secretly plotted against him. The final blow came not from a foreign invader or a rebel army, but from within his own ranks. His once loyal general Yuan Huaji, along with a faction of his remaining guards, saw no future under the doomed Sui Dynasty. With rebels closing in and the emperor's authority reduced to nothing, they conspired to end his reign themselves. On April 11th, 618 CE, under the cover of darkness, Yuan Huaji and his men stormed the emperor's palace in Jiangdu. They seized Emperor Yang, who, in his final moments, still refused to accept his fate. Some say he pleaded, others say he simply smiled, resigned to his doom. Rather than risk a public execution, the conspirators strangled him to death with a silk cord, the traditional method used to kill nobility. The once mighty ruler, who had commanded millions and dreamed of eternal glory, died alone, abandoned, and powerless. With Emperor Yang dead, his short-lived dynasty crumbled completely. His assassin Yuan Huaji briefly declared himself ruler, but he too was quickly overthrown. Meanwhile, Li Yuan marched into the capital, proclaimed himself Emperor Gaozu of Tang, and established a new dynasty that would usher in China's golden age. Though history remembers him as a tyrant who squandered his empire, Emperor Yang was also the ruler who built the Grand Canal, an engineering marvel that would shape China's economy for centuries. In the end, He was a man of grand ambitions but fatal flaws, a ruler whose dreams of eternal glory only hastened his downfall. What did you think of the emperor? Share your thoughts in the comments and look out for our next video.